Hello, hello. So today's chapter will be very important. Today is risk budgeting and survival in the markets. The idea of trading for our next day is one of the most important things. Risk budgeting and survival. You don't go broke from bad trades, you go broke from bad sizing. As I was talking about in the last few trades, that way risk management is the most important thing in trading by far. You don't have someone as a retail trader that will tell you when to get out of the market, when to do this, when to place five contracts instead of two, instead of one. Why not play minis instead of micros? And it's your kind of ability to understand risk to reward, when to get out of it, when to play the right probabilities. When your A plus setup works like your B plus or C plus, you can watch a million people online. You can go to a financial institute. You can do all those things that can help you understand these projects over time way, way more. And that's why it's so good to have people leading you over time here and there. It's one of the big things one should and can do. Survival is the first objective. Capital is a definitive resource. Risk defines longevity. This chapter teaches preservation, and professionals protect capital first. The obtaining and keeping capital is the most important thing. That's why it's called wealth management. It's not called wealth creation. There's a reason why. It's called risk management, not going risk crazy or gambling it. You just want to have a correct protocol, a good probability, have good things in certain ways that can build you over time and play the game correctly. Sometimes take some risky plays, sometimes don't, and don't get too stuck in the entirety of I can not play with any more money because when I lose this money now that I'm fully done with it. You gotta take risks sometimes in life, and sometimes the best thing is taking a bigger risk of giving up on certain aspects and going down a different route because you never truly are outgrowing anything. It just kind of is more of a transitional stage then. You would want to go down that route, maybe work for a financial institute, do have the experience in those kind of ways. AI is coming in hot, algorithms are getting stronger, quants are maybe not needed. Then you have to take that risk again and go back to doing trading for yourself as a retail trader with all the information that you can gather from institutes and those things. So it's a big cycle. Most traders underestimate risk. One mistake can erase months of work. Poor sizing amplifies losses. Risks errors compound quickly. Survive allows learning. As discipline protects opportunity. Risk management separates professionals from non-professionals, but that's not fully true. We've seen what happened in 2008, and we've seen what happened with a lot of funds in the last few years. And we gotta see like a guy like Aschenbauer nowadays. I mean, that guy is just unreal. The options plays and other things, it's insider information almost, and generally very very smart guy. Learned at AI, did everything correctly, went down that route, started doing his thing, made so much money from these Micron and SanDisk plays and those things, and being part of those kind of runs. It's one time, once in a lifetime, but it seems like we're gonna have more and more of those things coming up due to what exactly we're living right now as well. So super super interesting. A risk is not optional. Every trade contains risk. Risk exists before the reward. Ignoring risk is choosing exposure. Markets are uncertain. Losses are inevitable. Preparation reduce damage. Control is required. Truly having like the smallest win rate. That's one of those things. If you have traded at all, and you're trading prop firms, or if your own money, let's say you're placing a one contract, mini, micro, whatever it is, can be live cattle. If you really look at the idea of how much money a true employee makes in certain ways here and there, of course we can always look at the top of everything, of like good old Nvidia, like Jason Huang is making whatever few hundred million just by dividends every single quarter. Different game, different game. But trading, if you make one good trade in 10 minutes, let's say the market goes up 10 points, which is a very easy thing to do. That's $200 with one contract. Five accounts, $1,000. That's your day. That's like an hourly for a good lawyer which pretty much is their entire day some days. Then of course they have the big lawyer things that come in as well, where it gets certain like divorce lawyers or so, where it's like billions to millions and millions made in a few months. So those are just not the case. But then you see a TJR sitting in St. Bart supposedly. That's what Banks said. FaZe Banks was like 24-year-old kid spent 500 grand at Chrome Hearts and then something else, and he was sitting at the beach. And he showed his trade 100K in one day, 100K the next day. So months can also turn to $1 million months, which I have not reached yet. I had one trade that was 104K with Apex, which was sick. But yeah, that's just kind of the idea. That risk was crazy. I literally went out, came home at 4 a.m. Trade went from minus 8,000 to plus 20K, and I said I'll hold on to it. Went up 400 points. I was in 10 contracts, 104K, and my TikTok has a screenshot of it. That was an insane day. And yeah, that was a pretty insane one. So that's kind of one of those things. It is plausible, and in 4 months, I've made 400,000 of money on the accounts. And yeah, that was the Apex thing, which I don't really want to talk about because now I'm on there live trading. Risk must be defined before entry. Fixed risk improves consistency. Small losses preserve capital. Large losses destroy progress. Risk should be repeatable. Emotion increases with size. Discipline begins with limits. Position sizing. Size determines outcomes magnitude. Larger size increases volatility. Smaller size increases survivability. Size must match capital. Confidence follows proper sizing. Scaling is gradual. Protection comes first. Very important. Protect your downside in a certain way. I just like to think when I get into the market lately, I've been trading a little bit strange. But when I see something like it's a reversal, I see, okay, it's probably going to go back up to like 30,224 or something like that. I'll take that quick 6 point trade with 5 contracts sometimes, and it hits a little bit higher, but that's where I get out of the market and I place my take profit. Now, because it's 5 contracts and let's just say it was 10 points, then those 10 points turn into 1,000. And I'm dealing with combines right now again before I'm going into my live tomorrow on Apex. So that's $1,000 then in a quick move, which could have shot against me, but it's a risk to reward play I would like to take. And if I know that it's going to go that way for some reason with the experience I do, then I'll gladly take that rather than placing it every single time up by 4,500 a day for a 150K combine, because I've done that multiple times now the last 3 weeks. Gone into the combines, done the exact thing, and then I hold it up all the way at 4,500. Goes up like $3,000. I don't take it out, and I take out a profit of like $400 instead of taking 3,000 and taking one more trade in the next 18 hours of trading hours, or letting it be for a day, because 3,600 is way more than good enough with 5 accounts as well. That's 3K, 15K, 600 times 5, 3K on top. That's an 18K day. That's one of those things. Drawdowns, the real enemy. Drawdowns are unavoidable. Large drawdowns require exponential recovery. Recovery is harder than prevention. Consistent small losses are manageable. Survival beats recovery. Risk limits reduce drawdowns. Discipline preserves confidence. One of the big points right over here is if you have a few losing trades, they're all like $200 trades, you lose 5 of them in a row. Now you're at minus 1,000. You cannot just try to go for one big $1,000 trade unless that's kind of the idea. It's like you should be praying for, okay, now because I lost that many, I need to place a trade that gets 1,000 instantaneously. If that's not your risk management, then don't do it. If it is your risk management, go for it. So then that trade is then $1,500. Now you back up $500. Perfect. Otherwise, take 2, 3 more trades. $300 each trade, 900. You're only down 100. Go back to your normal strategy, or just always stick to your strategy. Maybe close the laptop. Whatever is the best strategy for you. There is no right, there is no wrong. It's just general advice. Over time, got to figure out what your own strategy is, and start trading with homies. Use Claude, use those things, because trading is pretty lonely here and there. Daily and weekly loss limits. Loss limits prevent emotional spirals. Hard stops protect capital. Limited force discipline. One bad day should not ruin a month. Rules remove decision fatigue. Walking away is a skill. Professionals stop early. Monthly budgeting. Trading is a business expense. Monthly risk must be planned. Drawdowns are budgeted. Capital allocation is intentional. Expenses are controlled. Sustainability matters, and planning replaces hope for monthly budgeting. Very huge one, too. I like TopSet for one of those reasons. Let's say you get a paycheck every month, and they have a law that you can only get 20 accounts per month. If you did 20 accounts per month, that would be $4,000. And then the next month, in that exact day, you get $4,000 again added back onto your thing to get 20 more accounts if it didn't work in this month. And you can use the ineligible accounts to practice as much as you want at that point in time. Because you only lose a month and your money on the opposite side's okay. So then if you make 5K or whatever, then you pay rent and all those things. But then once it starts working, you have all those accounts on the side. Now you have 20 accounts you can play with, but you can only take up to 5 of them, which is totally fine. So let's say you make 200 a day from all of them, 1,000 a day, 20 days. That's another 20K. You get to take out a full max payout. That's a $10,000 payout from 5 accounts. That's 50K. Pretty. Actually, no, that's opposite. You gotta make a K per account for that to be true, which is also okay. It can be doable. I mean, some days you make 600, some days you make 200, some days you might lose a little bit, and then some days you might have a crazy trade that's like 5 trades in a row all hit, and you somehow have $3,000 in one day. 20 days in a month can be 2, 3 months, perfect months. All can happen. Just gotta believe. Never give up the hope. Monthly risk must be planned, drawdowns are budgeted, expenses are controlled, sustainability matters, and planning replaces hope. Trading as a business, capital is an inventory, risk is operational cost, trades are decisions, not emotions. Consistency beats excitement, and that's trades or decisions, a huge one. Because you could literally just stay to the side. If your business needs more money to run in the theory, then you kind of need to trade more, but you also don't. All you need is one A plus setup that is 1,000 points in one day, 5 accounts. Somehow, let's say, okay, you got Lucid, you got Apex, you got TPT, you got Top Step, you got all those. Let's say, so you can get up to 100 accounts. But then, yeah, let's just keep it to 40 accounts. Okay, you get 40 accounts, and you make your $200 for those 40 accounts. If you have 40 accounts, okay, if you have 40 accounts in theory, if 10 times 200 would be 2K, that's an 8K day through the 40. And yeah, that's an 8K day. So if you do that 5 times in a month, you had a 40K month of creation of wealth. Payouts wise, probably can take out like 20K. Put those more into prop firms. Say you have up to 80 now. And then at some point, once you build these out and you have enough to play with, even though you should always go for payouts, then you can take bigger trades and kind of play the payouts correctly. Max payouts on Top Step now are one of the things that throw you off because 10K per account, you can get a 50K payout month. But you have to have a creation of $100,000. So kind of crazy. Consistency beats excitement. Discipline defines profitability. Systems replace impulses. Longevity is the goal. Trade for the next day. Sometimes you gotta close the laptop and not always go for home runs until it's worth it. Survival versus performance. Survival allows future opportunity. Capital preservation is constant. Aggression increases fragility. Okay? Longevity increases learning. Patience compounds, and professionals endure. Con risk mistakes. Oversizing positions, increasing size after losses, ignoring loss limits, revenge trading, emotional decision making, confusion, confidence with risk tolerance, breaking rules under pressure. All those things can harm you for sure, but some of them are actually not that horrible. If for some reason You are in a trade, and it is your ball game. Nobody else is affecting you in those kind of ways. You might have bills to pay, you might have this thing to do, or this, and that problem is facing you, and that, and that, and that. But it doesn't matter. It's just you in the market, you and your screen, and the buttons you can click at that exact second. You can get out of the market. If you did take your stop loss out, you can get into the trade, wait it out, and say now because it's up at 50 points above where it was, that's the highest it will go. I'll take one, two more contracts, quant it up, and then you only need to drop like 20 points. Drops instantly 20 points, put your stop loss at your break even or a few points unless you think it's going to go all the way down. Break even, safe trade, walk away, give it 20, 30 minutes, come back to the market unless now you're feeling really hot and you think that was the kind of thing, that was the reversion, it only came to there, so now you can get into the market, go long, and then you go long. Otherwise, go opposite, go long with the market, go in 2, 3 contracts, max it out, maybe one contract, your choice, and let the game run. It's your complete choice on how you want to trade and what you want to do, but that's one of those things I've realized that not all these tips will actually help you in the long run because you sometimes just have to interact with the thing. It's like substitutes. If you have one good idea and you're in and all of a sudden he gets injured, what do? Gotta bring in a substitute. It's actually a game. What happens if the ref says, okay, this guy just whatever had got a technical or something like that, or like somehow did something so he has to get kicked out of the game, right? It's a hockey stick to the face or something, the guy's bleeding, blah blah blah, something, 5, 10 minutes. So you gotta come back in, have a little bit of a different resolution than you had from beforehand because the thing's updated. All of a sudden there's more things to do there. So you have to do something in those kind of ways to get back into the market, or you just get out of the market early enough that these problems would never even exist. But when you're trading, you can be a very interactive trader or not as active trader. It just depends on what kind of prototype you work with. The institutional view prioritizes capital protection, risk limits are enforced, losses are expected, draws are managed, size control, discipline is non-negotiable, and survival enables scale. So that's one of those things too. I'm not saying that you're supposed to every single time go for that. You're not every single time supposed to, when the market's up, add to your winners unless their position is perfect. Now you can add a second and third contract. Otherwise, you stack it right there. Let's say you're up $400, right? Market comes down one final time, and you see it tap that kind of line, trend line. Place a second contract. Now the market's right there. Every single tick now, it's double the worth from beforehand. So you could go farther up if you truly wanted to, or you could play a different route. But that's sometimes a good one I've just learned is then you take that second, third contract, bing bong, goes up farther, $860 in a few more minutes rather than the $400, and you get out of the market. Otherwise, worse, you just lost like $40, $60 on that position. Still a great trade, and that's one of those things. But sometimes you just have to set it too early, which then makes the entire trade idea of a long term, good chiller trade not too hectic, a little more complicated. Risk and psychology. Smaller size increase clarity. Losses feel manageable. Emotional swings decrease. Psychology follows structure. Building a risk plan is very important. Set weekly and monthly limits. Match size to capital. Plan for drawdowns. Review consistency. Adjust only with data. At some point, you really can just also, with like the months I did have that went really well, it's not like you set that goal, and setting those goals actually screws you a little bit here and there. Setting the goal of being like, let's get to like 40 prop accounts. Let's get to 60K in our live account. Like putting that money in there at some point by next year, right? Totally fine, totally chill. But saying, okay, this year we're gonna cap ourselves out at 50,000, or like we need to get to max payouts. Some reason it does some of your psychology where it's like today's not enough. You know you had a great day of like $3,000 or something. You keep wanting to go. You want to have that best day. Now you have 10K in a single day, but you need to get up to that mark of somehow bringing all these 5 top step accounts to $100,000 in less than a month to get 50K payout, right? It makes sense. And it does make sense on the board, and you start trading more and you start making some mistakes, and that's kind of the idea of taking risk into both ways, just like a stop loss and a take profit. So your risk reward should also be like goal setting. You don't need to really set a stop loss on your goals or a risk level on your goals, so then don't get too stuck in that idea. Once it starts flowing, it starts flowing. If the trade idea is $10 or the trade idea is $500, just take the trade idea for what it is. If you think the market's going up 100 points, then let it run for the 100 points. Don't think that's $2,000. That's the only real idea of why trading for money doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, today we're just trying to score one goal, right? In the soccer game or so. 0-0, and we defend afterwards. We just close it off. That's it. No losses. Just one goal. Then you go for that and you make it happen. That's it. Survival comes first. Risk defines longevity. Budgeting ensures sustainability. Professionals plan risk. And that's like the idea of why budgeting is so greatly important. And the idea of, yeah, surviving the markets is the biggest thing because you can always trade the next day. You can trade in 5 minutes from now if you don't hit DLO. You can trade in an hour from now. Then you look at the market an hour from now, you're like, okay, I completely remember that pattern. So keep the risk lower, be smart about it. When you see that thing come in, you have time on your side. You kind of train your time for it, but you also are trading. The reason of this entire thing is for the freedom of trading. So you can trade for 2 hours in a day. You make that one correct trade, you can trade for 50 hours in a day. Well, not really, but for 15 hours you could trade in a day, or 22 hours maximum. If you find something, go for it. Your choice on what you want to do. So, are any questions? Leave them in the question box. Otherwise, thank you so much. God bless you guys, and peace out.